There's been a lot of history with my music. And some of you have seen various pieces of my documentary and footage of me in the past on television. And the sacrifice of my recording contract based on my religious convictions and not being able to continue to fulfill the contractual agreement to become a pop star, a recording artist with the largest record company movie studio in the world at the time in 1988, MCA Universal Studios Motion Pictures, CA Records. And what would have happened? They have alternate endings for movies. You can watch alternate endings. What would have happened? What if I never tore up that contract? What was my trajectory? All things being equal, well, the trajectory is known to some degree. At least it's expected or assumed based on the kind of company that I'm with, the kind of artist that I am. What would have happened? Who else would I have connected with in the industry? Would I have slept my way to the top? Would I have been bribed? Would I have been drugged? Would I have partnered myself in a marriage with someone? Who? What? If you look at all of the celebrity news, I'm sure you can imagine any or all of those scenarios. They were all a scenario. They were all a possible alternative ending. You might be reading about me today in a gossip magazine, or I might be in some rehab center. I may be on my third, fourth, fifth marriage or no marriage. Who knows? All of those are possibilities. My trajectory into motion pictures, into records, who knows? Into politics. I have that video as well. They wanted me to run for Congress. All kinds of positions. Television host, actor, the next Michael Jackson, who knows? Often they compared me to Denzel Washington, who knows? What would have been the outcome? I don't think it would have been good. At least not as good as it has been, not going down that path. Would have probably, maybe, possibly ended up well, because I started off well as a child. But I probably would have gone all the way around the world, had God knows how many wives or children, been abused or abused, drug or not interested, but who knows what would have happened? Who would have slipped me something in a drink? A lot of those things I have no interest in, but when you're playing with the devil in his world, those things you have no interest in may have an interest in you and find their way to you without you even recognizing it. Would it have been the mob? The mob's involved? Or would I have already been dead, killed? I just can't imagine never being on drugs. That's not something that even remotely seems to be anywhere near a possibility for me. I don't think it would have ended well because I still had a strong faith, whether I tore up the contract or not. I mean, my faith was still there. I think it would have been very awkward, when you're not quite all the way in, halfway into the world, and I wasn't halfway into God. I was always all the way into God, but violating my spiritual conviction by playing in the devil's game room. That would have been a challenge. I think more than likely I would be dead by now. I'm glad Papa took me down a different path. I'm glad I gave it up and gave it back to them, and I never regretted it. Now, they blackballed me in the industry. Oh, yes. Had to pay a price for that, especially when you're with the largest entertainment company. They have tentacles everywhere. I'm alive. And I'm proud to say I've been able to do more good than bad. Hundreds of thousands, millions of people I've been able to speak to. I've given out hundreds of thousands of Bibles and thousands of books and at least 50,000, 60,000 CDs of my music around the world. I've shared, I've preached, I've helped the homeless. I've been able to work a job for 26 years and use that income to help others go through college, buy a car, feed them, minister to them. It's been great. I would not exchange that decision for anything in the world. I'm not worth millions. Oh no. I'm worth far more than that. An incalculable number, immeasurable. No bank can tally up my worth. For my worth is hidden in the treasures of God's purpose. It is always better to lose the world and gain the soul.